My name is Sihle Gumede. I am an investment director and a principal at Sanari Capital. What you learn from me today is what you as an entrepreneur need to do, prepare, focus on when you're thinking about an investor exit.
What do we mean by investor exit?
So when we say investor exit, we mean that the capital that investors put into your company need to be returned back to them with a return, so with a profit on top of it.
Why is it important to describe an exit strategy?
It's important, particularly when you're raising capital, because you can't raise capital without having a full picture of what the business can do. So without having a well-defined exit strategy, it may be hard for an entrepreneur to raise capital.
What is an investor expecting to find out from an investor strategy?
What an investor is looking for, it is well considered and well thought out. It is a combination of ambition and realism, and it needs to be well considered and thought out, and it needs to have some element of real data into it. So if you say that I can make you 10 times your money in 5 years' time, what evidence is there that this has happened in this sector or in this type of business? If you can communicate that and you can sort of combine what your ambitions are and what you can do best and what you can do differently versus what is real and what has happened in the business, realizable data that you have, combining those two is important in order to communicate a well thought out exit strategy.
What is IRR?
IRR stands for internal rate of return.
What are the kinds of returns an investor expects at the time of exit?
So it depends on the type of investor, one. So you get various types of investors. So as an entrepreneur, you might be looking at commercial investors, so venture capitalists, private equity investors, if you are more later stage. There are other investors that are more focused on impact. And so they would be, so DFIs would fall somewhere in between there. And then you'll have a combination of investors as well, that look at both impact and commercial. So you need to understand from day one what the type of investor that you are seeking wants out of an exit. So if you are more commercial, the chances are they're going to want more higher sort of returns, sort of 20, 25%. And if you're more impact-based, they may be looking for more of an impact return as opposed to an actual IRR, as we explained earlier on. So you need to be very careful about what you as a business owner are trying to achieve, but also what your investor that you're bringing into your business wants, right? So it's important to determine the type of investor that you want and the type of investor that you attract and the ability for you to achieve those returns that an investor would want at an exit.
What kind of relationships are needed for a successful exit?
There is no one right answer, I think, for this. So it depends on, one, how you plan on exiting, and a good exit strategy will consider all types of exits. So you can exit in various ways. You can do an IPO, which is a listing in a publicly traded exchange like the JSE. You can do a strategic exit to a competitor or a player in the same space. You can do a financial exit, maybe other investors, such as other VCs or other private equity players in the market. If you're looking for a strategic exit, you need to be looking at your suppliers, your customers, your competitors.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
You can never define an exit strategy too early. If you're bringing in investors in early, you need to start thinking about that on day one. In order to raise capital, investors need to know that there's a path to exit. Having that strategy very early on in the process allows you to think about the full life cycle of your business. It's never too early to think about an exit strategy.